It is an immense pleasure for me to introduce Professor Devanshu Pandit, who will be conducting this lecture. Dr. Pandit has been a professor at the CEPT University since last 24 years. He has completed his PhD in the field of project management. He has to his credit many publications in national and international conferences as well as journals. It is an honor to have him as a part of our journey. His topic in this video will be Project Success Attributes.
Hokidemi, shaping professionals for a better future. Hokidemi is aiming to be the world's largest learning platform for engineers and architects. Hokidemi will help you to develop your skills in project design and management, to become team leaders and project managers in mega structure projects. Hokidemi provides learning by high-quality video lectures in all sectors like power, industrial, commercial, institutional, residential, etc., based on 1,000 plus real projects done by our group on Hokidemi.com. To study in detail with books, drawings, articles, and catalogs, visit Hokicart.com. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel to stay updated on our latest contents.
If you have constructed a treatment plant, then you are no longer, it is a treatment plant project, but it is a facility that treats the sewage or effluent, and as per the parameter prescribed by the designer, okay, and as per the regulatory requirements. So once these are all called project objectives, what is the objective of a treatment plant project? That you have a certain raw sewage and then you treat to the requirement of the GPCB or CPCB or any other department which has requiring this having a imposed requirements on these projects. So the end of the project is reached when the project objective has been achieved, or when the project is terminated, because objectives will not or cannot be met. So there are possibilities that sometimes we cannot achieve the project objectives and we may have to terminate a project. Say for example, there was a time when you were having pagers, and all of a sudden mobile phones came up, and you have to terminate that pager project if you are manufacturing pages, because nobody is going to purchase that. You may have to change the objective, so you may have to change. So according to project management body of knowledge, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Okay. Okay, so in the project process balances the key project constraints that are scope, quality, schedule, budget, resources, and risk. So the project process balances the key project constraints and provide a tool for making decisions throughout the project based on stakeholder values, performance metrics, established procedures, and the project goals. So these are the key constraints that are governing the project. So if we understand this, then probably we can have some control over the projects. This is to understand the project, where does the project stand. So there is a project family tree which starts from a plan, say for example 5-year plan. Under a plan there is a program. Say for example there is a national highway development program. Under the program there could be several projects. Say for example there is a golden quadrilateral project that connects the Delhi, Porbandar, Chennai and Kolkata. Under that there would be work packet, like say for example work packet 22 Surat, Atul, from this kilometer to this kilometer. And under this there are tasks and activities. So this is the project family tree. So it starts from the plan, and the activity is at the end, for which you have quantities, you have schedule, you have resources required to complete that. These are the key project characteristics which affects the project success. One of the key is that project has set of objectives, has a fixed lifespan for which the project is designed. There is a difference between lifespan and life cycle as far as project management is concerned. Lifespan is a duration for which the project is designed for. So an ordinary residential project is designed for 50 years or 60 years. A bridge could be designed for 75 or 100 years. A metro project could be designed for 100 years, and so on. That is called the lifespan of the project. Whereas life cycle of a project is from concept, when the project is conceived, to the project is commissioned and then handed over to the people who are going to run that as a facility. If it is an industrial setup, then the production people would be running that. So as soon as you hand over that the project, the life cycle of the project is said to be over. So in my consideration, the role of project management comes in the project life cycle. That is, from concept to commissioning, what happens is falling under project management scope. But the results of what you do in the project life cycle is during the entire lifespan of the project. Means if you have done a bad design or bad construction throughout the lifespan of the project, that is 100 years, you will be suffering it. Okay, that is the key thing that we need to understand. Then the next thing is, project is a single entity. There could be the components of the project, but then it acts as a single entity. Uniqueness: there could be a bridge on the river Narmada at Bharuch, and that at some other place like Chandod, and so many different places you can construct bridges. They appear to be similar because the length of the bridge could be 1 kilometer and so on. But by contractors, by design, by soil type, they become unique, and therefore the challenges in the projects are unique. Projects are subject to change. Projects are subject to successive principle, in which the things become known in succession. Means you know about first thing, then next thing will become clear to you. For example, once you buy a land, then only you will be able to know about the aspect ratio of the plot. You will know about the soil type. Once you carry out the soil investigation, then only you can carry out the designs. This is successive. So previous stage is required to be finished in order to get information about the next stage. This is very unique thing about the project, because you cannot know everything in advance. You may have an idea about soil of a particular place, but when you actually carry out the soil investigation, then only you will come to know that what is the soil type and what kind of foundation is suitable. And once you decide the type of foundation, then you will be able to know about the cost of that project or the foundations, and subsequently other things. Projects are made to order. It is according to the client's requirement. Okay, so there is no ready-made thing as it happens with the produced things. Project requires teamwork. There are so many subcontractors, so many suppliers, so many disciplines, so many engineers involved in a project. It requires teamwork between them. There is a unity in diversity between the project stakeholders. There is a high level of subcontracting. In our tenders, we mentioned that the subcontracting is not permitted. But actually, if you see, without subcontracting, no projects can be done. Don't expect a contractor to do waterproofing also, and the electrical also, and also the pre-stressing and so on. You require specialized subcontractor for doing any work. And projects are subject to risk and uncertainty. This is the project life cycle I was saying. This is how the project life cycle and the level of efforts can be seen. This is the timeline. So if you see that concept, feasibility, and the design phase, there is about 10-12% of the efforts and the 10% of the cost which goes in this phase. But this affects the results to a large extent. So understand that more time you give, more efforts you give in the preliminary phase of the project, it is better. By controlling the project at the during execution phase, you are not going to do much about it. If you have done blunders in the preliminary phases, means if you have a wrong feasibility. These days we are seeing that the people are having a pressure to make or show that this project is feasible. Like you have metro projects or BRTS projects or some big projects. They may not be feasible by the riders' estimates and so on. Considering the cost and the size of the city and so on. But it may happen that the people who are carrying out the feasibility study are under pressure, that you have to show the project feasible, because this project has to be done, because it's a political decision. This sometimes happens. So my point is that a good work in the beginning of the project would result in a better results, project results, and you will need to put in less efforts at the construction phase. I'll give you example that we often say, often criticize that, the contractors in the corporations are, bad contractors, and they are not doing good work. But my question is, who has selected these contractors? We have selected these contractors. Our selection procedure can be blamed for that. So selection procedure comes here. This is the place where, selection will happen. So if you make things right at this stage, you will have a good contractor in this phase, and probably you will have a better work to be done in this phase. So point is that good work before actual groundbreaking happens, actual construction happens, good efforts, good consultants involved in this phase, adequate time given to them is also equally important, because many times we are under pressure. As a consultant, I have seen that the client comes to you and says that I have to design this and require a tender and all that. So when can you give the tender? He's not even asking about the designs. He's simply straight away asking this stage when the tenders can be floated and contractor can be appointed. So this is where the problem is. We need to put in more emphasis on this to make the project successful. Now this is the introduction about the project. Coming to the project management. According to PM, Project Management Institute, which is apex body which is concerned with the project management education and the knowledge area. Project management is application of knowledge, skills, tools, techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. So knowledge you need in order to do good project management. First is you need to have a knowledge of civil engineering, about the allied disciplines of the civil engineering that we are having. We need to have a knowledge of construction. We need to have a skills like quantity surveying skill, measurement skills, design skills, and so on. We need tools and techniques, tools like AutoCAD, we need Excel, we need Primavera, we need MS projects, we need earned value management, we need techniques like benefit cost analysis, rate of returns, and so on. These are tools and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. So project management is application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. You are continuously getting this knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques throughout your career, and better you have all of this, and better you are equipped to manage a project. Now coming to the question at this stage. Okay, I think we may not have a chance to interact right now, but I would say that pose this question to you, that everybody is aware about Taj Mahal. So would you call Taj Mahal a successful project? I will pause for about 45 seconds or so for you to think over it. You are seeing this a typical picture of Taj Mahal where tourists are there and getting picture be in front of Taj Mahal. So Taj Mahal, whether Taj Mahal could be called a successful project or not, that is my question, and I want you to think about it. Yes, Taj Mahal is considered to be a timeless symbol of love. Okay. In 2018-19, according to one figure, please don't debate on these numbers, because it is taken from somewhere. It could be something plus or minus. In 2018-19, 68.85 lakh visitors and about 78 crores of revenue from the sale of tickets was achieved. This is 78 crores is a direct revenue for sale of tickets. Indirect benefit to the economy of Agra and UP could be much bigger. Do you all agree to this? That the Agra is known mainly because of the the fort, and mainly because of the Taj Mahal. And because of the Taj Mahal, so many visitors have come to Agra. It would have impacted the economy. This is the revenue generated from the project point of view. But if you look at from the traditional project management, or people like me who are always finding out some faults with the system, would say that construction took over about 22 years, initial 16 years, and then 5-6 years for the surrounding development and so on. So 22 years duration was taken for the construction of this monument. about cost of 3.2 crores, which translates to about 7,000 crore rupees at a 2020 level. More than 20,000 workers contributed to the construction. And the question would be, we can ask this question, that could it have been done better? Could it have been done in a shorter duration? Could it have been done with a lesser cost? I would say that Taj Mahal is a successful project as far as its focus was on quality. Focus was on a benchmark structure. Focus was a demonstration structure. What is the focus of your project? If that focus is achieved, then it leads to the project success. It is one of the criteria for project success. What is the focus of a project success? Is one of the thing is that you want to have a benchmark project. Some projects has a cost focus. You want to achieve a certain minimum quality, that is compulsory for all the projects, but at the same time you want to have a minimum cost. That is a very routine government projects. We want to do it on a minimum cost because it's a very routine project. You're not building a Taj Mahal, and therefore you need to have a minimum project cost for that. And there are projects where the focus is on the schedule. We are having these vibrant Gujarat functions where temporary nature. Now that date is fixed, that it would happen on 10th of January alternate year, or 11th of January. If you do something 15 days after that, it is of no use. So you need to maintain that schedule, and that is the most important parameter to measure the success of that. So it must get completed within that time frame. That is one of the thing. So point is that in a country with population of 1.26 billion, scarcity of resources, if you don't ask such question whether this could be done in a shorter duration or not, and these days you have to finish a project within a timeline that is very short. Like the projects of 20 years are now almost, that concept is outdated. You are having projects divided into phases, and you target projects with 2 years, 3 years duration. Another project, a Statue of Unity project, which recently we saw, and we don't want to comment on this, but this is the initial figures. In the 1 year after the inauguration of Statue of Unity, about 30 lakh tourists visited and earned a revenue of 82 crores, which the project was constructed with 3,000 crore rupees or something, and almost the project was completed within the schedule. Okay, so from the project management point of view, we could say that this project is reasonably successful. It got completed in time, and with the desired quality. There could be some questions about the leakages and all that, but this is all we don't want to get into those media kind of reports to evaluate a success or failure of a project. But we need to look at these big projects to say that what happened. Now there are two aspects that we are able to see. One is this revenue and tourist and all. That is the post completion of a project. So after a completion of a project is a different story. We as an engineer, we are concerned with the project management, and we may focus on the project life cycle from concept to commissioning. And there are these projects. A lot of you would be from Surat and familiar with this failure. Comparatively less complex than any other projects, but still we saw this failure. Again, not getting into details of this, but somewhere the in the designs or in the construction, somewhere we had some lapse which resulted into such failure. This is a Monarch project in the Junagadh. So it is not like that very complex projects are showing failure. Actually, we are seeing that a lot of tunnel projects in Delhi Metro and other locations have been successfully completed without any major fatality, or without any major problem, with having so much difficult working conditions. You have to monitor the settlement of the structures which are happening on the alignment of those tunneling projects and so on. And as compared to that, if you see this project is a much simpler project, and it is also not subject to any earthquake or any flood or anything. It is simply that probably there is some design or construction problem which result into failure. So if you learn from what is happening around you, you will get an idea about what is the kind of projects are facing problems or so. Okay. Okay, now those who can understand Gujarati, these are the two newspaper items. One is the 6-lane road પર 2-લેન બ્રિજ સુધી ટ્રાફિક જામની સમસ્યા. ગોલ્ડન બ્રિજ 134 વર્ષે અડીખમ અને જૂનો સરદાર બ્રિજ 26 વર્ષે ખખડધજ. Again, not getting into the factual correctness of these figures, but we all know that Golden Bridge is still was having traffic on it. I don't know, I'm currently haven't traveled for last 3-4 months, but before that Golden Bridge in Bharuch was happening, was working, and a bridge which was not merely about 30-year-old has been put out of use on the national highway. Okay. As against this, very proudly somebody is mentioning, in the same year I found these two news. Vishwamitri Bridge was 57-year-old in 2015, I guess, when I have taken this. So it could be more than 60 year, and it is still working, and people are saying very proud about the construction. If you have constructed something, you should be proud to go back to that place that I have constructed this. Okay, so now coming to the key aspects of when do you call a project successful and how to measure project success. Since its introduction in 1950, the project management discipline was introduced in 1950. It has sought to define criteria against which the project can be measured, because there is still lack of objective measurement of the project success. The key goals, if you look at the examine this topic, you will know that the key goals of the project management is it must get completed. It must get completed within budget, within allocated time, and it must perform to the satisfaction. Okay. According to the Atkinson, cost, quality, and time, these are called iron triangle of the project success. So if you ask anybody about when do you call a project successful, they will say that if the project is completed, first task that I mentioned in the previous slide is that project must get completed, and then within the budget, within the timeline, and with the acceptable quality. Now, quality is a very relative thing. I would say that, if you come to my institute, we have a rough Kota stone flooring, which is very nicely done. And, you can say that this is a good quality flooring. You cannot compare it with a granite flooring of a 5-star hotel, because the 5-star hotel has its own requirement. The outdoor area of an institute is having a different requirement. Or if you say that there is a government school corridor, in the school corridor, if you provide a vitrified tiles, it could be of a good quality, done with a good finishing. It can't be called a good quality flooring, because that is a slippery, and the function of that flooring is that it should not be slippery, particularly for the children. Okay, so when you say that the Atkinson defines this as a time, cost, and quality are 3 key elements of the project success, and they are known as iron triangle of the project success. Now, somebody said and added in 2008, there is another researcher who has come up with the project management diamond, and he added the scope in the element. What used to happen that when the project is exceeding its budget, and it is going out of the schedule, then some people would reduce the scope of the project. एक ब्लॉक कम कर दिया, आपने कंपाउंड वॉल जो है वो नहीं किया, आपने सर्टन एलिमेंट ऑफ द फिनिशिंग जो है उसको निकाल दिया, आपने फ्लोरिंग जो है वो कम कर लिया, तो आपका स्कोप चेंज हो जाता है. तो वो फिर whether you have not done the complete scope or you have done with the reduced scope, आपने 10 करोड़ में प्रोजेक्ट तो खत्म कर लिया, पर 10 करोड़ में जो आप इनिशियल आपका जो कमिटमेंट था, वो आपका कमिटमेंट आपने खत्म नहीं किया है, तो यू मे नॉट कॉल इट अ सक्सेसफुल. सो दिस इज अनदर डायमेंशन एडेड. Then there is another dimension by PMI, Project Management Institute, where the schedule, quality, and budget are there, and then they talk about the resources, management of the resources, the risk associated of the project, and the scope of the project. These are the key things that determines the project success. Okay. Then another concept has come up. What about the society? What about the economy? What about the environment? What is the impact of project on the economy? What is the impact of project on the society? So many project, we know about these highway projects, dam projects, the Statue of Unity project, riverfront project, and so on. We carry out social impact assessment, okay, environment impact assessment, and economic analysis of the project. At the center of these three, when you consider economy, we consider the society, the environment, then we achieve the sustainability. Okay. So there is a concept of sustainability added to the project success. That project is, even though it is done within the time frame, even though it is done within the cost, even though it is done with the acceptable quality, but it is not beneficial to the society, or is having the interest of the society is not protected, it is having some impact on the environment, or there is an adverse impact on the economy of the project, where although you have money to do the project and you finish the project in time, then this project is not called successful. So project success is a function of project related factors, project procedures, project management actions, human related factors, external environment. There are classifications of the project success: traditional factors, non-traditional factors. The different industry has a different definition of the project success, because there may not be a single definition of project success. Industrial projects are important. They have their own importance of the criteria. The project success in the project phases, project level, at project level, at a group level, that is a design group. It's a construction group. So construction group is successful, design group is not successful, or individual level. And the location wise, the project success definitions or the priorities are different, because the developed countries, non-developed countries, and so on, they have a different priorities of the project success. So this could be defined differently. Okay. Project management factors that have a impact, breadth and depth of the organization structure, having different positions like safety, quality, risk experts, and so on, would achieve project success. Feedback capabilities, control mechanism, communication system, safety and quality, control of the, that we control the contractors work, but the contractors have to control their subcontractors work. Sometimes they just leave it to the subcontractor and client. So between a client and subcontractor, you have to find out the quality and several issues. Overall managerial action, quality of project planning and project success. So the first part was, we were saying that project planning. So what is to be dealt with project planning? The goals have to be clearly defined. The project manager must be competent, because the project manager is one person who is supposed to have a central authority on the project. And that is where when there is a department culture, that this is a design department, this is execution department, when they are different, it is difficult to get a output in this. There has to be one single person who is controlling all the department, and he is able to take decision, even including funding decisions. So if the funding is not in his hand, he has to go to finance department to get approvals for every single change order, then that approval process will result in the delay, and that is going to happen. So that next is top management support. If management is not committed, we are seeing in some kind of projects, some type of projects, that management support is not there. So where there is a management support, you're going to have a project results good project results. Competent project and project team members. Very self-evident, some of these points. So that is why I'm not getting into discussion. Sufficient resource allocation. Resources should be available when they are needed. You need a piling rig at, a foundation stage, So you are starting, you have, put up a barricade on the road, and if your piling rig doesn't come up, then, you are, actually obstructing the traffic and doing nothing in that area. We have seen this happen. Communication, control mechanism, feedback capacity, responsiveness to the client, client consultation, technical task, client acceptance of the work that you are doing, troubleshooting. There would be, a lot of problems occurring during the project. So, you troubleshoot those problems. External factors, economic environment in which we are working. So what economic environment we are having, and what Brazil is having, and what Zimbabwe is having, and what Japan or America is having, they are different economic environment. Social environment, we are seeing the oppose of certain project in West Bengal, and that same project is not opposed in Gujarat. There is we can see that there is a social and political environment are different. Physical environment, where located, whether what kind of environment it is having. Are you constructing so you have a different success criteria when you're doing a project in Mumbai and when you're doing a project in any outside area, open area, freedom for the material at all time of the day. Okay, industrial relation environment, how the government licensing permission and the relationship between the industry and government is. Level of technology advancement, we are having batching plant and all for some years. Before that, the technology advancement in the certain countries it was there, but we were not having that level of technology advancement. And still cities, major cities are having some of these things like boom placers, tendering method, procedure for adoption and selection of the project team, and particularly the main contractor, how you have set the main contract. So that is what is the size of the project that you are having. Say for example, if you make a 20 crore rupees is a cost of a flyover, and you float a tender for 20 crore, any local contractor will get qualified. But you want a national level contractor to come and bid for this flyover project, they would not be interested in a 20 crore project, because I know of some national level companies, they don't bid for projects below 50 crore rupees. So you want to bring a national level contractor to bid for that project, you have to bundle 10 flyovers into one to get a good contractors on your project. Now that is the success is designed at a stage. How float a tender, how club the things together. PMC related factors, client support, without client support nothing. Organization and collaboration among the team members. एक आर्किटेक्ट अलग है, एक स्ट्रक्चरल डिजाइनर अलग है, उसकी जगह पे एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जिसके अंदर इन हाउस ये सब है, आर्किटेक्ट भी है और स्ट्रक्चरल डिजाइनर है. इट कैन मेक कोऑर्डिनेशन इजियर. Proper planning and execution, establishment of the standard procedures, and so on. So some researcher, very prominent researcher by IIT Delhi, Kumar Neeraj Jha, KN Jha, has come up with the list of success and failure factors. I am just reading through very quickly. Project manager competence, top management support, monitoring and feedback by the project participants. These are the things you can go through these factors, owner's competence and so on. And similarly, owner's incompetence can also result into the failure of the project, or hostile socio-economic environment is also resultant for the failure of the project. So these are the things that lead to success or failure of the project. So these are the list of failure and success factors. But please remember, they are also industry or sector specific. The projects which works for water supply project may not work for the road projects or for a different type of projects. Okay, please remember that these are the base work. Okay, then if you are working in the some other sector, then you may have to develop your own indicators. Please remember this, you may have to develop your own indicators for your own sector, because you cannot have everything ready-made available. And you are working in a pharmaceutical sector, then the importance is on the clean environment and a quality of workmanship in the certain area is very key. So those factors would be somewhat different from the other factors. So you have to modify from this is a baseline discussion that we are having, right? We are having a baseline discussion on this. You have to modify and work further to achieve your own definition of the project success. Okay, when to measure the project success? It can be measured during the execution of the project, interim ways, upon the completion of the project, after the project is delivered to the client, or assessment after 1 to 5 years after the completion of this project. This is very important. When I visit, we did some college construction in Bhuj and Jamnagar, and I took it when I visited after 10 years Bhuj and Jamnagar. I made it a point to visit those projects to find out how the facility is being used and how it is performing, and get a feedback on that facility that can help you to improve that. But that is the life cycle of the project. Okay, these are the project participants which are key to the project success: project manager, client, contractor, consultant, subcontractors, suppliers, manufacturers. You would have heard about the project stakeholders, and the list of stakeholder is much bigger, who are influencing the project success, including the people who are approving the plans, and giving permission for the environmental clearance, and so on. So many people who are responsible for the success of the project. Okay, project success beneficiary: owner is a beneficiary, developer is a beneficiary, users are beneficiary, general public is beneficiary, and therefore we need to consider them while defining the project success. Now, coming to one a small example, that in the CPWD and PWD, when the contractor is finishing a project, the client issues such client certificate regarding performance of the contractor, right? This is a performance certificate. That means whether the contractor has performed satisfactorily or not, and that also indicates that the project has been done or not. And if you look at the criteria that are considered in the comment on the capabilities of the contractor, which is demonstrated on this project, is technical proficiency, financial soundness, mobilization of the adequate tools and plants, mobilization of manpower, and general behavior. So if you are a government contractor, look at these things, that what client is looking from you. Okay, also they look at the date of commencement and stipulated date of completion and actual date of completion, so that you can say that whether the project is completed in time or not. And but you would not see the budget, and so many things are missing in this. And arbitration and those aspects are also mentioned here. So whether the contractor has made a claim or not on this project, has gotten into litigation or not, is also looked at by the people who are giving the certificate signature, and this authority is doing this. So please remember that these all things are given by the authority. It doesn't mention about the safety. It doesn't mention about the environment, whether during the course of the project, whether there was a pollution to the groundwater, whether there was air pollution, whether there was a sound pollution, and so on. All these things are not mentioned. We need to incorporate all these things. So now coming to my work in brief, that to decide whether a project is successful or not, we need to measure the project performance. Okay, and to measure the project performance, we need to have certain criteria for measurement that in my own research I have found out and proposed. As I said, that they have been done with a little generalized background. This may need to be modified. Okay, so what I did was that project performance indicator I have identified through the brainstorming, interview, and the literature mapping. Okay, through this I narrowed down on the 8 performance criteria: cost performance, schedule performance, quality performance, safety performance, environment performance, client satisfaction, legal claims, and the project technical performance. Okay, then I developed an index using analytical hierarchy process and created project performance index. And to use this project performance index, I developed some evaluation criteria which were applied on the project. Okay, so that is the final measurement of the project success. That is, it will give you some number. Okay, it will give you idea about the project success. Okay? You need to study it further detail. So the literature part, different researcher has given this, project organization, contracting strategy. These are the different criteria that project deviation, cost deviation, customer delight. I have used customer satisfaction, return on investment, decision effectiveness, absence of legal claim, cost, time, quality, use, satisfaction, efficiency, deadlines, launching time, actual versus planned time, stakeholder satisfaction, performance, reliability. These are the different criteria people had suggested through interview, through literature survey. I shortlisted to the 8 performance measures. That is a cost performance measure, schedule performance, quality, safety, environment, client satisfaction, legal claims and proceedings, and the project technical performance. Now, this, if you look at this criteria, some of these criteria can be objectively measured, like P1 and P2. Cost performance and schedule performance. You can have a percentage cost overrun, percentage time overrun, or you can measure it in rupees. P3, P6, and P8 are very subjective criteria. Quality performance. It is very difficult to objectively measure. Client satisfaction. How do you measure the client satisfaction? So it has to be a subjectively measured. Okay, claims can have a financial value. Project technical performance. Sometime it can be measured, sometime not. Okay, 4, 5, and 7. They can be objectively and subjectively both measured. 4, 5, and 7. Environment performance can be measured in terms of environment impact assessment. There could be a numerical value. Safety performance can be objectively measured in terms of the safe man hours. So companies like L&T and big companies, they have safe million man hours, that so many million man hours have been gone on the project. So if there are 100 laborers are working today and they have a 8-hour shift, so 100 into 8, so you have earned 800 man hours today without any accident. So you go on accumulating this man hour without any accident. That is, you can objectively measure it. And many times you don't have a data, then you have to measure it subjectively. So subjectively you say that whether the accident happened on site, whether there was a permanent disability, or person has lost some limb or something, that, or some accident which is requiring first aid and so on. So it can be objectively and subjectively measured. So this analytical hierarchy process has been used for ranking this weightage to these factors. The analytical hierarchy process, this could be useful to the researchers at MTech level. This is a method which was developed by Sati in 1980, and it allows the decomposition of a problem into hierarchical structure, and which is basically a multi-criteria decision model. Okay, so it can handle number of criteria, and a comparison of the two criteria is done on a Sati scale. And when they are equal importance, then you have this one number, and when you have a 9, one factor is having a extremely important than the other on right hand side or on the left hand side. So it works like a balance. In the center you have 1, on right hand side there is one criteria, on left hand side I will show you how it is done. Then coming with a developing a project performance index by assigning a weight multiplied by performance on a particular project. So you select a project and select a schedule performance, whether the schedule performance was poor or excellent. So you put up that value. If it is poor, you put up 1. If it is excellent, you put up 5. And the weightage of this, so your quality weightage is 24%. So you multiply it with 24 percentage, and you make a summation of these all 8 of this performance, and you will get a performance index. So the total summation of the weight is 100, and the maximum criteria for the excellent performance is 5. So project performance index can have a maximum value of 500. So you can get a score of a project out of 500. Conclusions: there is need for objective measuring the project performance, and this is the model that I have provided here. Time, cost, and quality are traditional performance measures, but client satisfaction, project technical performance cannot be ignored while measuring the project performance. Environment and safety performance are neglected in many projects which needs attention, and project completed without litigation also indicates a success of the project management. So these are my some of the views on the project success factors which leads to the project success, and the criteria which I identified for the measurement of the project success, or for the measurement of project performance, that could be used for saying that whether the project is successful or not. Okay, so you can objectively measure this, and you can also, suppose you are a R&B kind of department, you are CPWD, you are housing board, where you are doing same type of projects again and again, then you can use this kind of measure, and you can attach this scorecard along with the this completion certificate which I showed you earlier. Then this could be better value for the people who are referring to that certificate for appointment of the consultant, because currently when we are appointing the contractors, we are not looking at what was the safety performance of that contractor and so on. Mostly that certificate would be good certificate is given by the authorities, and that certificate becomes the basis for contractor to get the next project, even though his performance is not good. Thank you very much.